Hamilton fires shots towards Mercedes. Hamilton's bad day at the Austin Grand Prix has gone to worse with the subsequent disqualification from the Grand Prix on Monday morning, but it is far from the talking point that should and probably will happen in Brackley. The massive mistakes from the tacticians in the box of the Silver Arrows underline a massive problem in the team, one that needs to be addressed as soon as possible before 2024 because it is just as important as driving on the track itself. Lewis Hamilton expressed that his team's tactics led to him missing out on his first Formula One win in almost 2 years at the Austin Grand Prix. Despite initially securing second place, he was later disqualified due to his car's non-compliance with regulations. Specifically, the depth of the new floor on Hamilton's Mercedes was deemed to exceed the limit specified in Article 3.5.9e, which stipulates that the plank must not wear down to a thickness below 9mm. More on that later though. For now, let's see how exactly Mercedes managed to mess up a potential Hamilton victory. When Verstappen made his first pit stop on lap 17, it was clear that his tyres still had some life in them. The Red Bull team knows that their car tends to struggle in qualifying, but shines during the race due to its slow tyre warm-up. This trait, however, leads to less tyre wear. The anti-dive suspension system plays a role in this, ensuring Verstappen's tyres stay in good condition. On Sunday, the team recognized that a well-timed pit stop, known as an undercut, would be crucial. By pitting early, they could gain an advantage over their competitors, as Red Bull was confident it would be a two-stop race and opted for medium tires for a clean undercut. It was expected that Norris and Hamilton would respond in kind. Norris was anticipated to pit on the next lap, followed by Hamilton. This would have allowed them to maintain their positions ahead of Verstappen. However, Hamilton chose to stay out for one more lap, possibly hoping to get more mileage out of his tyres or try an overcut on Norris, though it didn't pan out. When they inquired about a target +4 strategy, the specifics of the target and lap were unclear. As it turned out, aiming for lap 25 or 26 was not viable given the tyre condition, and Hamilton struggled with grip, even experiencing a lockup. Initially, Mercedes believed they can make it a one-stop race, seeing it as their best chance at victory. However, they eventually had to switch to a two-stop strategy, losing significant time in the process. If they had pitted Hamilton immediately to counteract Verstappen's undercut attempt, they would have been in a stronger position. Driving on worn tyres, Hamilton was losing about 2 seconds per lap to Verstappen's fresh mediums, and within a few extra laps he lost approximately 8 seconds, a notable miscalculation by Mercedes. While it's understandable they considered the one-stop strategy given the circumstances, there was an opportunity for Norris and Hamilton to collaborate in challenging Verstappen's strategy. The Dutchman was struggling in dirty air and faced challenges passing slower cars, and beating Verstappen on strategy was indeed possible, but Mercedes, believing it wasn't, chose to pit Hamilton late. However, even when they did, it was a subpar pit stop, which was frustrating for the Silver Arrows. Red Bull typically executes pit stops in the low 2.0 range, and though Verstappen had a slower stop at 3.3 seconds, it was considered subpar for Red Bull standards. So for Hamilton, a 3.6 second stop is considered standard, with 3.0 seconds being his ideal. While Mercedes has stuck to a philosophy of steady, clean pit stops for years, in a two-stop race, gaining 2.5 seconds in a pit stop is significant. Then there were the Turn 11 lockups both former 2021 title rivals had during the race's middle third. Hamilton's cost him 2.7 seconds to Verstappen, while the Red Bull driver actually gained 0.4 seconds on the tour of his slip. Norris also did this too shortly after Hamilton, with Stella later reflecting that breaking into Turn 11 and then traction out was the most problematic phase from a car performance point of view. But what really cost Mercedes most was its initial decision to try and see if the one-stopper was ever really viable. When Motorsport.com asked why he was certain a different strategy would have led to a different result, Hamilton replied, "It's not necessarily that I'm certain. At the end of the day, I was 1.8 seconds behind Lando at the beginning, before the McLaren's first stop, and there's a huge undercut." That bears out as Hamilton's pace, once in the lead for the first time, dropped from the mid 1 minute 42 seconds bracket to the high 1 minute 42 seconds, and then into the mid to high 1 minute 43 seconds. He also felt having in any case ended up with a tyre life offset. When their tyres are starting to drop, that was useful, but that didn't seem like it really made a big enough difference. Wolff explained that the one-stop experiment had come about because Mercedes believed if we were on the same strategy, cover Max be a few seconds ahead of him, that would not be enough to win the race. At the moment, we have mixed feelings because there is the pain of just having lost a race that we could have won. Had Mercedes been able to get Hamilton closer to Verstappen, its victory chances were enhanced because the brake issue, which stemmed from Red Bull changing Verstappen's brake material in parc ferme, allowed by the rules and not uncommon, although it wasn't listed in the official FIA bulletin concerning such matters, left a world champion not getting the same feeling from the brake pedal that he had previously, according to Horner. Hamilton's strategy was clear: hold on to the medium tyres for an extended period to make a one-stop plan viable. However, he was taken by surprise when the tyre performance sharply declined towards the end of this stint. This increase in tyre degradation couldn't have come at a worse time for Hamilton. He found himself in a tricky situation, not quite within the optimal window for a one-stop strategy, and he had already relinquished vital track position to Verstappen. In hindsight, it's easy to see the better options. The drop-off risk is always present when you push for a one-stop plan. With Hamilton in the lead and displaying strong underlying speed, it seemed that Mercedes had two viable choices: either bring him in the following lap after Verstappen, or commit fully to the one-stop, enduring the drop-off phase. But unfortunately, the team ended up choosing neither option, resulting in a painful compromise, which left Hamilton with too much ground to make up, ultimately impacting his chances in the race. However, more fuel was added to the fire in Brackley on Monday morning, as both Hamilton and Leclerc were disqualified due to breaching the floor requirements. Namely, both Mercedes and Ferrari were found to have violated Article 3.5.9 of the 2023 F1 technical regulations. This article specifies that the plank assembly's thickness, measured perpendicular to the lower surface, must be within the range of 10 mm plus or minus 0.2 mm and must remain uniform when new, and it also allows for a minimum thickness of 9 mm due to wear, and compliance with this requirement is examined at the designated hole peripheries. Introduced in response to the tragic events at Imola in 1994, where Roland Ratzenberger and Ayrton Senna lost their lives, the wooden plank, technically a high-density wood laminate, became a safety-driven addition from the German Grand Prix onwards. This plank was attached to the underside of the cars, resulting in an elevated ride height and subsequently reducing the generation of underfloor downforce for safety reasons. And while it is possible, given it will have affected the way the ground effect floor works, it realistically is not a substantial enough change to think Mercedes could have gained a lot from this. The lack of setup time could have led to problems, but given Ferrari, without any upgrades this weekend, also hit trouble, it's far more likely to be external conditions that led to the excess wear than a specific change on the Mercedes. Fortunately for Mercedes, it's another race week, this time in Mexico, providing an opportunity to rebound from what was, without a doubt, a weekend filled with setbacks as they endured a series of accidents during the last two Grand Prix, ranging from technical issues to problems with Hamilton's performance. Additionally, they faced pre-race troubles with setup, ultimately leading to their disqualification, and this series of events has certainly been a rough patch for the team following another challenging race in Qatar, so the situation is far from ideal at the moment. But they have proven they have a good car right now in comparison to the start of the season, so while they do need to fix the issues they have with the race tactics, and very quickly, because tactics are as important as driving, Mercedes are on a good path, and we will see if they continue or if this setback will prove to be a bigger issue. What do you think? Could Mercedes have done better in Austin, or was this the maximum they could have achieved? Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.